Our next two sessions are going to highlight the work that was done by the Active Efficiency Collaborative's Performance-Based Utility Programs Working Team, which has held a series of workshops across the country to explore how performance-based utility programs can accelerate deep energy retrofits and enhance demand flexibility. I'd like to just take a moment to recognize Laura Van Wee McGrory, who's our VP of Special Initiatives, who took on this particular working group, and her team really did a great job of working with the working group and organizing these workshops, which have been implemented throughout the country. So my thanks to those members of the Alliance staff as well. First, we're going to hear about one of the most forward-thinking programs in this area, Seattle City Light's MEEAS program. And of course, MEEAS is an acronym. Everything has to be an acronym, and MEEAS is a clever one. It's been on the front lines of providing energy efficiency as a service in the Seattle area. We're delighted to have several key people here to join us for another fireside chat to talk about the MEEAS pilot program. Colm, Otten, and Joseph Fernandi from Seattle City Light, and Salley Anderson from the Bullitt Foundation, which was the beneficiary recipient. I don't know how you will describe it, but is living in the pilot of the MEEAS program. This program has provided a lot of important insights to our team on the collaborative's discussions on performance-based utility programs, because it is one of the exemplar versions of that, and has resulted in incredibly deep energy efficiency improvements and other benefits in one of the most sustainable buildings in the United States. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Colm Otten. He's the program manager for Pay for Performance and Energy Efficiency as a Service at Seattle City Light. He's going to be moderating this little fireside chat. Colm, over to you.
Thank you, Clay. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. So as Clay said, we're going to be talking about our MEEAS project with the Bullitt Center and the Energy Efficiency as a Service pilot program that Seattle City launched based on our experiences with this project. So as Clay said, MEEAS is an acronym. It stands for Metered Energy Efficiency Transaction Structure, and it was developed by the very smart people at the MEEAS Coalition. The general concept behind this, I'm going to try and parse out in just a minute. As with all of the topics that are being discussed today, we could probably talk about this topic for many days, but we've got 15 minutes. So I'm going to try and keep it brief. So general concept behind MEEAS and energy efficiency as a service is essentially allowing utility customers to pay for the deep energy efficiency upgrades in their building on their utility bill. And we do this by letting them pay a utility bill, what the utility bill would have been had the upgrades not happened. And then counter to that, the utility provides developers who are responsible for these deep energy efficiency upgrades with a long-term income stream that is based on a contract that's very similar to a power purchase agreement, where the utility agrees to pay for all of the savings that are achieved in the participating buildings. So in other words, the utility or another third party determines what the savings are in the participating buildings, and then we adjust the customer bills so that they would pay what they would have paid had no upgrades occurred. And the utility pays a developer for those upgrades based on the value of the savings. So to talk about their experiences with this program, with MEEAS and energy efficiency as a service, We've got Salley Anderson from the Bullitt Foundation. She's the CFO there and the general manager of the Bullitt Center. And then we have Joe Fernandi, who used to be my boss, so I can't say anything bad about him. He manages the project development team within Seattle City Light's Customer Care and Energy Solutions Division. In this capacity, he leads a team of 21 energy management professionals who deliver the utility's portfolio of demand-side management programs to specifically to the business customers. His team works with customer owners to conduct program outreach, opportunity assessments, project development in existing buildings, as well as in new construction. So thank you both for joining us today. Salley, let's dive straight in. First question for you. Could you tell us how MEETS has helped you and allowed you to meet your efficiency goals at the Bullitt Center?
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Colm, for the question. So MEETS created the structure that allows us to be repaid for the energy investments that we made. Without MEETS, there would be no way for us to recover those costs. In addition, because MEETS is truly pay for performance and pay for performance over 20 years, it ensures that the investments we made will continue to create the benefits we desire, and really importantly, the cash flows required to pay for them. If we were only paid for 3 to 5 years, there would be no financial reason for us to care about the performance after those few short years. With MEETS, we are paid to care about it for 20 years, and it really helps us keep our eye on the ball and keep things optimized.
Great, thank you. So what has your experience been with paying for efficiency on your utility bill?
You know, we think it's a great solution. If we want light on our desks and heat in our spaces, it needs to be paid for. So we can either pay for someone to invest to build a gas plant and deliver energy to us from the gas plant, or we can pay someone to install windows that provide really lovely daylighting and a ground source heat pump for heating and air conditioning. Either of these approaches requires capital investment, operations and maintenance, and utility infrastructure. Either choice delivers us the light on our desks and the comfort in our offices, but MEETS means we can pay for the better choice. On our bill is energy. And you know, we really couldn't be happier about that.
Excellent. And I have to say, I actually worked at the Bullitt Center for about a year, and it is an extremely comfortable building. So it's really lovely. The results are amazing. So Joe, could you share with us what you feel that the benefits are of this program to both the participants and utilities, specifically related to traditional incentive programs? Because this kind of veers away from just your upfront, here's your check, thank you for the savings.
Right. Thank you, Colm. So I think Salley covered many of the participant benefits, but from a utility perspective, you know, we think some of the primary benefits are that it lets participants deploy a portfolio of actions in their building across capital improvements, O&M, and behavioral improvements. And it ensures they're getting credit for every kilowatt hour they save. It avoids the need to attribute each kilowatt hour back to its source. And it also avoids the need for the utility to make sure that we've got a program offering for every single project or measure that the customer intends to do. So it's very flexible in that way. Since it relies on measured savings, it allows the participant to focus on making projects happen instead of worrying about convincing the utility that the savings are real. So it captures all the improvements in the building in a single monthly transaction right there on the bill. Beyond the performance-based nature, we think it helps to overcome the traditional split incentive, which has long been a barrier in commercial real estate. And in fact, in our next cohort here in Energy Efficiency as a Service, we hope to attempt to unlock savings from other types of split incentives, such as the current building owners versus future building owners. We think it helps owners and developers secure financing with essentially an efficiency PPA, like Colm talked about. from a creditworthy counterparty, which ultimately unlocks greater levels of depth of savings in the buildings. And the longer contract terms enable transferable benefits that keep projects from needing to pay back within a lease term or within the amount of time that the building owner holds the building, which is typically like 7 years. So that also leads to greater levels of depth. For the utility, from our perspective, there's certainly administrative benefits, from bundling all projects and measures into a single payment stream. And last, since we're merely transferring the benefit of these projects, of the avoided energy use to the energy developer who made them happen, we're not relying on traditional incentive budgets. So we're enabling greater levels of savings depth, which helps us meet our increasingly difficult goals without the use of incentives.
Great, thank you. That was really good. Salley, how do you feel that participating in this program has impacted or changed your relationship with Seattle City Light, your utility? Because the Bullitt Center is an electric-only building, so way to electrify and beat the curve.
So we feel like MEETS has really deepened our relationship with the utility. We've committed to work in partnership over this 20-year period. And we really want to ensure that efficiency energy is delivered persistently and transparently to the utility.
Great. Excellent. So, Joe, this being an approach that is significantly different from the traditional incentive programs, what would you say are the main challenges that the utility has faced in setting this program up?
Well, I'd say it took time and persistence. I'll start with securing the authority from council. That took time, but our council has shown leadership on climate and energy. They unanimously passed the ordinance, which granted us the authority to pilot up to 30 buildings for up to 20 years. The other piece is that this program, there's many stakeholders at the table. There's owners, tenants, property managers, service providers, commercial real estate, financiers, utility personnel. So we needed to make sure that we understood the goals and barriers that each party faced and that the program enabled equitable benefits to all parties. So we had many participatory workshops along the way to gather input on the design and make sure that we got it right in the build out. And then internally, just within the utility, it requires a lot of coordination. Colm's very familiar with this, but we needed input and decisions and expertise from legal and rates and finance and risk and M&V and billing and metering and contracts and evaluation and procurement. I mean, it goes on and on. But so that required bringing them all up to speed on the model itself. What is it? How does it work? What are the benefits? So having, an elevator pitch or an executive summary on the program is extremely helpful, but, ultimately we got it done. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you both so much. We started a little bit late and we're a little bit over time. So we've got 2 minutes left. Do either of you want to to share one last takeaway with the people here?
I'll take a moment just to thank the Bullitt Foundation for their leadership on the topic. I mean, it's been really rewarding to see the results in that facility, and we hope to use those lessons learned and apply them to a broader set of use cases here in the next 30 buildings. We've got, I think, 3 or 4 in today and have another solicitation coming out early next year, and excited to continue to apply the model and use it at scale.
Absolutely.
I'll echo what Joe said, that it was a couple of years of, a lot of hard work, a lot of meetings to make it happen. But now that it has, from a customer perspective, it's seamless. The billing systems have been updated and it's just everything we hoped for. And I know that you're going to take those learnings and the next customer is just going to step right in and it's going to be good for them. So thank you. Thanks for hanging in there with us.
Well, thank you. It's been really rewarding working on this for the past 5 years almost. And yeah, I have to say it's incredibly exciting to see the other buildings that are coming in. We started with the Bullitt Center, which is in many ways a unique building, but with the new applicants that are coming in, we're seeing all sorts of different types of buildings that this is applicable to, and I think we're seeing a projected average of about 30% electricity savings. So deep efficiency is really being unleashed through this program. So thank you both for sharing your thoughts with us. And if anybody has questions, feel free to reach out to myself, or just Google energy efficiency as a service, and you will find program documentation, or Google Meets, and you will find the Meets Coalition page, and that's MEETS. And they have lots of really interesting information. So Clay, thank you, and back to you.
Hey, thanks a lot. Really appreciate the panel and the contributions that you've made, Colm, as well as Joseph and Sally. Thank you for being pioneers. You did something first, and first is always difficult, but you've set a model that others can follow. And 30% plus energy savings is a great outcome from an innovative financial model, and a great example of utilities, building owners working together in collaboration to create something new. So in addition to Googling Meets, you can also go to the Active Efficiency website in our case studies section. There's a really nice case study on this project, and I encourage you to scan this case study and the many others that are there.